the whole underground economy of children. It's horrific. It really is. And that some of it has to do with the policy of the border, and our film isn't critical at all. But what really is happening is that a lot of people came to the border
All right, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you're situated on this great, big, beautiful blue globe floating through the void of Yah's creation. This is Dave, and I hope that Scott can turn off the replay. Somehow the replay got going, and we're talking, you got two voices going on at the same time. So, I don't know, Scott, if you can hear me, we got to stop the replay. We got a little bit of a late start here. Ah, okay.
in a normal foster.
Yeah, we got a little issue going on here. There it is. Okay, I see where it's coming from. Okay, a little bit of a technical glitch here. Man, I've been having some technical difficulties here. Yesterday, I got bumped off of the air. There were internet outages going on all over the country, believe it or not, and just about about 3/4 of the way into the broadcast yesterday, there was a pop or something happened, and I got bumped off of the air. It shut down my recording. It shut down my feed to the network, and so yesterday's show just didn't happen the right way. Anyway, just having a couple of technical things. I hope we've got them straightened out now. But anyway, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you're situated on this great, big, beautiful blue globe floating through the void of Yah's creation. These are the WTF reports. I'm your host, Dave vonKleist, and I'm here with the audio receipts. Yeah, WTF. It also means with the facts. So you can't come after me and say, well, Dave said that, Dave said this. No. I bring it to you right straight from the horse's mouth, as they say. All right, and this broadcast is brought to you in part by the Wave Watch. And if you haven't checked it out, I implore you to do so. You're only going to benefit from it, and they have a special going on, a Father's Day special. Not only will you get $100 off if you use the code, the promo code REDPILL100, but you'll also get a $50 value in an extended warranty. And so, hey, look at it. If you haven't checked it out, please do. I'm noticing that my eyesight is improving. I noticed that right off the bat when I started using the Wave Watch last year. But then I started loaning it out to people. And anyway, once I got the new Wave Watch 2.0, I started running the program. It takes a few weeks, but I'm reading the newspaper again. So, hey, check out the Wave Watch, and you'll be glad that you did. Okay, I got several different issues we got to get to today. There's so much happening. The nightmare of illegal immigration is coming home to roost. And the liberal Democrats who made it happen, well, you can scream and moan and bitch if you want to with the ICE agents making their raids, but you created the problem. You did it. You absolutely did it. And I'm sorry, you're going to have to live with the consequences of your decisions. Now, of course, the Democrat strategy was to let all of these illegals in, with the help of the liberal Democrat Biden-Harris administration. And, of course, they would be forever grateful for that, so they would be voting Democrat. And that's what the whole plan was. But the thing is that they didn't think about who they were letting in. And they let in some of the most vile human beings that are on this planet. And the countries that they came from didn't want them either. That's why they sent them here. So now what do we got? Okay, the numbers are, well, they're very hard to figure out. Some people say it's 15 million. Some people say it's 10 million. Some people say, we've had Border Patrol agents that say it's near 30 million. So we don't know how many people got across. We just don't. So that's one issue we got to deal with. Another is of course, depopulation agenda. Now, we've been talking about this on this broadcast for months and months and months and months and months and months. The number one agenda of the globalists is to reduce the population drastically by any and all means necessary. And we're going to touch on a couple of those topics. Now, the other thing that's in the news right now is this rift between Elon Musk and Donald Trump. And I got to tell you, this could very well be a 5D chess move. There are a lot of influencers that are posting on social media that the whole point of doing this was, of course, Elon Musk put out this thing, says, yeah, Trump was on the Epstein files. Okay, now up to now, the liberal Democrats have been saying, no, let's just forget about Epstein. Let's just move on. Nothing to see here. They don't want that going. They didn't want that information going out. Of course, because we heard that Bill Clinton was over there, 20 or 30 or 40 times. I don't know. They said first it was 27 times, and then it was 30-something, and now they're saying it's 40-something. We don't know. But of course, the liberal Democrats didn't want to, upset the Clinton apple cart. So they've been very, very reluctant to push for this issue about releasing the Epstein files. Of course, there's a lot of people, a lot of Democrat Hollywood types were there. A lot of Democrat politicians were there. So that's why they didn't want that out there. Well, when Elon puts out there, Trump is on the Epstein list. And now all of a sudden the Democrats are saying, release it, release the Epstein files, release them, And maybe that's exactly what the plan was. So anyway, I don't know. We're going to have to see how this unfolds. It's really interesting. This is just amazing. And then let me see, what else is there? Oh, yeah, the issue about the 5G technology. How is this affecting the population? Well, there are more and more people that are starting to look at the 5G towers and saying, wait a second, what are those really for? What are those for? So, and then there's the issue about all the Somalians. Ilhan Omar, of course, she's facing she's in a lot of hot water. She's facing all kinds of charges, and she may be thrown out of Congress and everything. But, the Somalians that came over here, of course, that was under the Obama administration. He just opened the door, said, come on over, because they were all refugees. Yeah, they were fleeing a country and fear for their lives. So they came here, and, of course, they set up shop, and they get free housing and all kinds of freebies and stuff like that. And the funny thing is that when a lot of these Somalians take their vacation, where do they go? They're going to Somalia. They're going back to the country they said they were fleeing from for their lives. So, I mean, this is raising a lot of questions as well. Anyway, let's see. Where do I start today? Let's start with the sex trafficking, the human trafficking. And this has been on the forefront of my mind for many, 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 many years. Ever since I, got to know Ted Gunderson, and he and I broke bread and spent many, many hours talking together about the horrific proliferation of sex trafficking, sex rituals, satanic cults popping up all over the country, and indeed, they're all over the world. But the problem here is that, they've got to have children to do this. We've all heard about the adrenochrome. We've all heard about all this other stuff. So let's go to CNBC. And this is a report. I was surprised it was on CNBC. Listen to this.
What did you discover as part of this movie? This is a whole underground economy of children. It's horrific.
It really is. And that some of it has to do with the policies at the border. And our film isn't political at all. But what really has happened is that a lot of kids came to the border in suburbans from very poor countries like Guatemala. And the families paid $3,000 to $5,000 per kid, and they thought that these children could have a better life here in the United States. And if you go back and watch your own news stuff, there were tents with hundreds of children, and they were all dropped off there, and we welcomed them into the United States.
But we need to take care of them and make sure they're protected, and they're not.
Yeah, the problem is that the foster system does weekly and monthly checks on the children to make sure they're okay. And what happened here...
In a normal foster system.
In a foster system, what happened here is we welcome these children in here, and that sponsor families, some of the rules were changed. They don't need to be a parent or an uncle or anything. It could be anybody. And some of the traffickers suggested the sponsor, and the New York Times article says there's homes in Florida and Texas with 15 to 20 kids all sleeping on the floor, not in school, and 15 passenger vans are picking up kids, 15 at a time, and they're cleaning pig slaughterhouses and doing the whole night shift. And we're allowing this all to happen under our noses here in the greatest country of the world, the United States.
Mm-hmm. Now, hear what he said. He said that there were trucks with, 15 kids being shipped off to do, to work in slaughterhouses and all kinds of jobs like that. Well, there was somebody that actually went down to the border, and they actually saw a pickup truck filled with kids. And what was really unnerving about this is that the police were right there directing traffic and protecting them. Listen to this. Now, this is a video somebody shot.
Insane, guys.
They're looking at a pickup truck, and they're just
not worried about
unloading
belts,
kids.
Not worried about anything else. They're all children. They're all children. Look at these kids coming out of this. We don't follow laws around here.
The police are right there, too.
Seat belts. Look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. 21 people.
21 kids in a pickup truck.
21 people. Who's that little kid?
Y'all aren't gonna ticket them?
And the police are right there waving them through.
People.
Hey, those kids are they're not tied up, sir.
21 people.
This is insane. This is absolutely insane. And that's what's going on. That's absolutely what's going on. Now, there are many other reasons why we need to be paying attention to what this is all about. Let me see if I can find the other clip here before I change gears. Let me see. Where is it? Oh, gosh. Okay. Let me see. This is it. Okay, I've got so many tabs open here. Anyway, we'll move on from that. You're getting the general idea here, is that these children are being trafficked, and this is all because the borders have been wide open, and of course there's a huge market for children. So this is just simply got to stop. It really does. And let me see, where else is it? Okay, yeah, as far as this immigration thing is concerned, Steve Smith, who is an influencer, he had this to say, going out to all you Democrats that opened up the borders and helped to facilitate not just the drugs, but the human trafficking, which you're just hearing about. Here's what Steve Smith had to say. For the liberal Democrats, you guys better wake up. You guys got to wake up now.
Brace yourself for this. In another gut punch to our failing Democrat Party, shocking new revelation regarding the 13 million migrants our party let into our country over the past 4 years. 600 had serious criminal records.
Okay, I'm going to pause it. He said 13 million. And again, we don't know exactly how many, but I've talked to a border agent. He says it's closer to 30 million.
13,000 were convicted of homicide. Under our party's so-called leadership, over 7 million known migrants were let into our country to live and roam freely. Of those, 663,000 of them were known to have serious criminal records. 13,000 had been convicted of homicide in their own country. Now, if you're watching this and you're a lifelong Democrat like me, you need to pay attention to this because I'm not done. 13,000 of these migrants and asylum seekers had convictions for SA.
Okay, I'm pausing it. SA means sexual assault.
And an additional 2,000 were fleeing new homicide charges where they came from. So for my fellow Democrats, if we are going to survive as a viable political party, we are going to have to face these facts. Too many of us just want to pretend this didn't happen and move on. But here's the truth. They were right. Trump was right. That's right, I said it. Trump was right. We wanted new voters so badly that we ignored the Constitution, we ignore our morals, and we let a deadly disease into this country. And if we are ever going to regain every day Americans' trust, we are going to have to become part of the solution. Are you listening, Schumer? Are you listening, Pelosi, Kamala? Are you listening, New York and California? And I'm not saying I have the solution. All I can do is come on here, the Pronoun Panic Room, and ask for your thoughts and ideas. Go to the comments and let me hear your ideas, then follow for more.
Mm-hmm. Well, he's speaking truth. And I'm sorry, you liberal Democrats, you screwed up real bad. Real bad. You thought that you would be benefiting by this. Now you're going to end up having to pay the price. Because, like I said, this is not just about the drugs coming across. This is not just about trying to get Democrat votes. It's also got a lot to do with maintaining the market of children. Matter of fact, there's another 357 children vanish every year.
2022. The FBI released the fact that 357,000 children, documented children, have gone missing. They don't know where they are. That's over half the population of the city of Vancouver, Canada, vanishing. Nobody knows. The story is on every single news screen around the planet nonstop. They vanished, gone off the radar. How's the only way 357,000 children go missing off the radar in North America? I'll tell you the only way. The only way 357,000 children go missing under the radar is if the people who manage the radar had something to do with it.
Bingo.
That's the only way.
Bingo. The only way those kids go off the radar is if you're controlling the radar. That's exactly right. So, I mean, this is just horrendous. It's got to stop. I mean, when do we all stand up and say, well, WTF? You know, we got to roll up our sleeves and get involved with this. This is going on for way, way too long. Way too long. All right. Let's see. What else have we got? Oh, yeah, there was another guy. I was going to play this the other day, but I ran out of time on a Second Amendment rant. Now, there's more and more people that are starting to realize why we've got a Second Amendment. And it's absolutely to protect ourselves and our family and our property. But there's also a little clause in the Constitution that explains why. But I'm going to let this guy talk about his take on the Second Amendment. Here it is.
The right is full of cowards, but the left is just full of sick people. People will go at great lengths to politicize and weaponize a tragedy. I want to address the leftists out there that think this is a gun problem. We've had guns here since the dawn of time, but only in the last 20 years have we had mass shootings. Every single year, it gets more difficult to get a rifle, but every single year we see more mass shootings. But please explain to me how this is a gun problem and not a mental health problem. And you sick bastards, the one that say, how many children need to die before you give up your Second Amendment? All of them. Is that what you want to hear? Is that the sound clip you're looking for so you can dunk on the right-wingers? Nobody's out to solve problems anymore. It's all about dunking on the political opposition. To the right-wingers out there saying maybe it is time for gun control. Here's a PSA for everybody that doesn't seem to quite understand the purpose of the Second Amendment. Second Amendment's not for hunting. It's not for the range. It's not for self-defense. Second Amendment is leverage against your government. It's a dead man switch. Purpose of the Second Amendment is to live free or die. To the lefties, oh, you think you stand a chance against the military? No, I don't. I'm not stupid. Push came to shove, an AR-15 is nothing compared to an F-35. If it really came down to it, the first Marine who was a decent shot would probably take me out. But the point is that they would have to take me out, that I will go down swinging. And most people are tired of saying that what happened is an absolute tragedy. When you hear the details of what actually happened in Texas, it's pretty tough to imagine. Even if I thought that abolishing the Second Amendment would somehow stop all school shootings, I still wouldn't do it, because I'm not some emotional single-issue voter. You can't just look at single issues in a vacuum. You have to look at them with respect to everything else. You know, more kids die every year sniffing fentanyl than being shot by an AR-15, but you'll fight to keep that southern border open. More Americans die at the hands of illegal immigrants, but you'll fight to keep that southern border open. So are you really about saving lives, or is it just about disarming your political opposition? After JFK, we beefed up security for politicians. After 9/11, we beefed up security at airports. All these tragedies throughout history, and we beef up the security at the places where they occur. Except for schools. There are 380,000 unemployed veterans in the United States. Most of them are working age, but a lot of them have problems because they feel like they don't have a place in society. They don't feel like they have support, and they don't feel like they have a purpose. So maybe instead of sending $40 billion to fund a war on the other side of the world, or spending more money so that children can learn about their teachers' kinks, we could instead put 2 veterans that are already well-trained in every school that would happily lay down their lives to protect those kids.
Bingo!
To me, and for the people, and for the veterans, and for the children, that sounds like a win-win. And to all the British people out there, we don't give a damn what you guys got going on in England. Not one single damn. You gave up your guns and the government hasn't turned on you? Wow, that's because you're a domino and we are the first domino. American right-wingers are the only thing keeping the entire world in check. Maybe you can discuss that over your next tea and biscuits. I forgot to mention all the people saying this is a Republican problem because they're all in the back pockets of the gun lobby. First of all, the gun lobby's broke. And second, all those people crying about the gun lobby won't say a word about what Big Pharma is doing to young people in America. So to all the anti-gun people, you're a liar and a coward, and you don't actually care about children.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, boy, he had a lot to say, wouldn't you think? Oh, my gosh, but he hit the nail right on the head, especially when he brought up the thing about the school shootings. You know, we're sending billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars overseas, and we have all the security for the banks and all the public political, the state house and the city hall. They've got all kinds of security systems for themselves. And yet the children, remember Hillary said, children are our most precious resource. I wonder what she meant by that. But the bottom line is that if children are so valuable, why don't we have, like this gentleman said, we could have a couple of veterans who are trained and know how to protect. You could have 2 veterans at every school, and you'd save money and you'd save the kids. That makes too much sense. So anyway, I just thought that rant was worth playing. Okay, now back onto this issue about world depopulation. Now, there's a woman by the name of Claire Edwards, and she worked for the UN for quite some time, and she came across some really interesting documentation. I believe that was a French researcher had come forward with this in regard to the 5G technology. Now, again, I mentioned this on yesterday's broadcast, that there are cell techies out there that have opened up cell phones, at a repair shop, and then they go, and they notice that there's no chip in there to receive a 5G signal. Let that settle in for a minute. Okay, let that settle in for just a moment. And we got a caller there. I'm going to ask the caller to stay on hold for a second. If there is no 5G receiver chip in the cell phone, why are they at breakneck speed to put up 5G towers? Now, the 5G towers, of course, are going to be letting out the same frequency that microwave ovens do. And I played a clip yesterday or the day before or something. One of these guys was saying, hey, look at what happens when you put a piece of aluminum, some foil into your microwave and turn it on. And now you have to ask the question, what about the aluminum that's in our bodies from the hokey pokey thingy dingies? And it's not just the CV19. It's also now being found in the MMR vaccines, the ones that they're giving to children. Anyway, okay, we'll carry on with this particular topic, but we have a caller on the line. So, okay, hello, caller. Welcome to the show. Who are you and where are you at?
Okay, well, this is Melissa in Maryland again, and I don't feel the need to call you every day, but this is my question for you. Is there a website?
Okay, I tell you what, Melissa, wait, before you get started, can you get off of whatever it is? When we talked the other day, you sound really weird. So whatever speaker you're on, take off speaker or something. And
okay, are you saying that I sound muffled?
Yes, you sound a little better now, but go ahead.
Okay, yeah, all right. Okay, well, what I'm trying to find out is if there is a website, maybe you keep track of these things, but is there a website that discusses FBI files that are seized and, whether they've been released or not? And like what I'm referring to is that I understand that Raymond Rice and Tesla had their files seized by the FBI. Mm-hmm. But I'm wondering who else's files have been seized and if they've been released yet. So is there a website that keeps track of that?
I'm not aware of a website that carries that particular information. But let me ask you, you called the other day and we're asking about the smart dust, and we're asking where you could find more information. And let me ask you, did you do a search on smart dust?
Well, one of the things that I have come across is that Patrick Wood has a website called Technocracy.
Yeah.
And I've been looking at that, but I'm interested in looking at it from the watchdog perspective and not from the industry perspective, not from the perspective of it being pushed, but from the perspective of being concerned about it.
Okay. Well, so I'd have to assume that when we spoke the other day and you wanted information about the smart dust, you did not do a search on that? Because all you have to do is open a browser and type in smart dust, and you'll find all kinds of information about that. So, and as far as finding, a website that, is dealing with, FBI records and stuff like that, I can't help you with that. I mean, if they grabbed Rife's technology and Tesla's technology and stashed it away, they certainly wouldn't put it on the internet. So I don't know what to tell you as far as that's concerned. So, but I would.
You're saying that if I scour the FBI website, I won't find anything about, Nicholas Tesla's files and Raymond Wright's files.
I can't say one way or the other, but I mean, I would have to assume common sense would tell me that if they confiscated all that stuff and didn't want it to see the light of day, they certainly wouldn't put it on their website. I mean, it's common sense. So, but I do know the information has gone around that as far as Tesla's information is concerned, a lot of those files ended up in the hands of John Trump, who happens to be Donald Trump's uncle. So there is some information about that. And I would also suggest, if you really want to do some diving, go to the website IngersollLockwood.com. And that's Ingersoll, I-N-G-E-R.
And poke around.
Yeah, poke around and take a look at the library. There's a lot of very interesting stuff there. And like I said, when you're at that
that is an interesting website, because you're like when you're just playing with your mouse, you're like, whoa, what's going on?
Yeah, there are hidden links everywhere. There's on the periods, on certain letters. When you move your cursor carefully around in the text, you're going to find all kinds of really interesting stuff. So, yeah.
That's good. Okay, so what's the name of that website again?
It's IngersollLockwood.com, and you should have... Yeah, I'll spell it out for you. I'll spell it out.
What's the significance of Ingersoll Lockwood?
All right. Well, Ingersoll Lockwood was a novelist, and he lived in the late 1800s and early 1900s. Now, Ingersoll Lockwood, he was also friends with Nikola Tesla. Now, Ingersoll Lockwood wrote several very interesting novels, and they were fiction. And again, if you go to that website and check out the library, you'll find all the works of Ingersoll Lockwood. And it's interesting because one of the main characters was a guy named Baron Trump. And some of these stories were about time travel. And like I said, Ingersoll Lockwood was good friends with Nikola Tesla. So you want to go to the website Ingersoll. That's INGERSOLL. That's two L's. And then Lockwood. There's another L, so you'd have three L's. LOCKWOOD. IngersollLockwood.com. And when you get to that website, lo and behold, it's a recruitment website for the United States Space Force. And you can sign up and join the military. It doesn't have to be the Space Force. You can join the Army or the Marines or whatever. And they have a page there where you can put all your personal information in there, and they'll get in contact with you if you want to join the service. So, if this is a bogus website that's collecting data, I would think the government would have taken it down a long time ago. But it's still there. So, why are they putting out all this information about time travel? There's a lot of stuff in there about UFOs. And there's a lot of stuff in there, documentation to the Abrams Accord and to the Pentagon report of 2022 on UAPs. There's all kinds of information there. So if you want to have some good fun, go to IngersollLockwood.com and move your cursor over every letter, every punctuation mark. Even the empty spaces have hidden websites, or hidden links, I should say. So anyway, Melissa, thank you so much. Thanks so much for the call, and I wish you well on your search. So I'm going to have to move.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. Well, no. Okay. So you're telling me that the search term is smart dust.
I couldn't understand. The search term is what?
Smart dust.
I can't.
Oh, good Lord.
I can't understand. You're so. What is that? Your phone sounds terrible.
Okay. You're telling me that the search term is smart dust.
Smart dust, yeah. Just type in smart dust, and you'll find all kinds of...
Okay, so is that the only search term you recommend, is smart dust?
Be creative. You'll put nanotech. You could put nanotechnology. There's all kinds of search terms, but you just got to start somewhere, my dear. There's just...
Okay.
Okay.
All right, I can handle it. Thank you.
All right, my dear. You be well. Have a great weekend. Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye, sweetie. Okay. Okay, now where was I? Oh, okay. Okay, well, let me see. Okay. let's see here. I'll get rid of this. There's so much information here. Oh, remember I was just talking about the Somalians, okay, and Ilhan Omar and Obama letting them all into the country, and now they've set up shop and they're popping out babies, and they got free health care, and they got free housing, and they got all kinds of stuff. Well, there's a post here, and I thought I would share this. This was posted. It says the world's smartest man. His name is Christopher Langan, and he's got an IQ estimated between 190 and 210, and he was banned from Facebook for posting something. Now, I'm going to read it to you because this is what he posted, and it goes back to remember Coco the gorilla? Coco, the thoughtful gorilla who captivated the world through her ability to use sign language and revealed an empathetic side to great apes, has died. She was 46. Now, before I continue, remember Coco? Robin Williams met with Coco. And there's video out there. You could do a search for Robin Williams and Coco the gorilla. I continue. It says, the western lowland gorilla passed away in her sleep Tuesday morning at the Gorilla Foundation's preserve in California's Santa Cruz Mountains, the foundation said. Coco touched the lives of millions as an ambassador for all gorillas and an icon for interspecies communication and empathy, the foundation said in its website. She was beloved and will be deeply missed. Coco was believed to have an IQ of between 75 and 95 and could sign more than 1,000 words. The average IQ of a human is around 90 to 110. She also understood spoken English. Now here's where it gets interesting. According to the 30-point rule of psychometrics, as proposed by pioneering psychometrician Lita S. Hollingworth, Coco's elevated level of thought would have been all but incomprehensible to nearly half of the population of Somalia. The average IQ in Somalia is 68. Yet the nations of Europe and North America are being flooded with millions of unvetted Somalian refugees who are not initially kept in cages despite what appears to be the world's highest rate of violent crime. Obviously, this raises a question. Why is Western civilization not admitting gorillas? They, too, are from Africa, and probably some have a mean IQ at least equal to that of Somalians. In addition, they have peaceful and environmentally friendly cultures, commit far less violent crime than Somalians. Okay, I'm going to stop it there. This is funny. This is funny. Anyway, I just thought you'd get a kick out of that. Coco the gorilla had a higher IQ than what this gentleman is saying. And again, he's got the biggest IQ in the world or something. All right. Okay, getting back into this issue about depopulation. Now, this is, like I said, this is a front burner issue, folks. This is their plan, the globalist plan to eliminate a huge portion of the population. Well, there's a guy by the name of Dennis Meadows, and he's a member of the Club of Rome. And he believes that we need to reduce the population from 7.5 billion to just maybe 1 to 2 billion. Here's his explanation.
So far, globally, we are so far above the population and the consumption levels which can be supported by this planet that I know in one way or another it's going to come back down. So I don't hope to avoid that. I hope that it can occur in a civil way, and I mean civil in a special way. Peaceful. Peace doesn't mean that everybody's happy, but it means that conflict isn't solved through violence, through force, but rather in other ways. And so that's what I hope for.
In other ways,
that we can. The planet can support something like 1 billion people.
Okay, well, I'm going to pause that for a second. Now, he's claiming that the planet could support 1 billion people. Now, what do you mean by that? Is it a matter of us, having only so much land to grow so much food, only so many resources? wait a minute. It seems to me that our resources are being squandered and have been squandered for well over a century by the mentality of those who just want a profit and they want their power. You know, the old John D. Rockefeller, competition is sin. It's going to be our way or the highway. And we have a throwaway society. An example, down in the basement of this old house that I'm in right now, there's a freezer. And this freezer is at least 50 years old. And it still cranks away. You buy a freezer today, you better buy an extended warranty because in 3 to 5 years, you're going to be in trouble. That's the design. The same thing about, light bulbs. There's a fire station, I forget where it is, but there's a fire station that has one of the original light bulbs made by Thomas Edison, and it still works. They can make light bulbs that'll never burn out, but then once you've lit your house with these light bulbs, you'll never have to buy a light bulb again, and that's not a good idea for them. They have to have light bulbs that go out so you keep buying more. And that type of mentality is why we're squandering our world resources, because it's profits. It's about profits. It's not about progress. And that's what's killing the world. Okay, I'm going to let this guy, this idiot go ahead.
Maybe 2 billion, depending on how much liberty and how much material consumption you want to have. If you want more liberty and more consumption, you have to have fewer people. And conversely, you can have more people. I mean, we could even have 8 or 9 billion probably if we have a very strong dictatorship, which is smart. That's unfortunately, you never have smart dictatorships. They're always stupid. So, but if you had a smart dictatorship and a low standard of living, you can have it. But we want to have freedom and we want to have a high sentence. So we're going to have 1 billion people. And we're now at 7. So we have to get back down. I hope that this can be slow, relatively slow, and that it can be done in a way which is relatively equal. So that people share the experience and you don't have a few rich...
Share the experience? This is insanity. Yeah, I mean, he's just saying this off the top of his head like this is matter of fact, But the bottom line here is that we all know that if that's their goal and they want to reduce the population, they're going to go at us from every different direction. And yours truly has been saying this for a long time. Anyway, let me see. There are several other things I wanted to get to. Let me see which one it is. Okay, I already did that. And, okay. Congressional testimony. Senator Ron Johnson was taking the testimony from a Dr. James Thorpe. And he was talking about the corruption in the Health and Human Services Department. Okay, listen to this one. You think they're not trying to kill you? Listen up.
Yes, on informed consent. There was completely the opposite in pregnant women. HHS appears to have captured the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists, and my research team, including Maggie Thorpe, JD, have proven that with the Freedom of Information Act.
For a few $1 million, correct?
Many $1 million. They captured ACOG. In December of 2020, everybody at ACOG and the other organizations, we're not going to push this vaccine in pregnant women. In the span of a pregnancy, 40 weeks, September 27th, 2021, you will push the vaccine. You will push it in pregnant women and follow all the HHS criteria. And if you don't, we will destroy you and your professional career will take your license away and we will decertify you. That went out to 60,000 OBGYN doctors. So
we probably should have expanded the title of this: corruption of science, federal health agencies, what would you call those? Professional organizations?
These are the 3 organizations that essentially govern obstetrical care, not just in the United States of America, but the whole world.
By the way, I wanted to ask you, to what extent are the medical journals funded by various conflicting organizations?
Yeah, listen to this
companies. I've heard Chinese interests. I mean, are you aware of that? You were talking about the article written by the editors of the New England Journal of Medicine.
Yes, I'm aware of the study by Wen and colleagues, David Daniel Wen, that was just published October 10th of 2024, documenting that 1.06 billion with a B dollars went to the reviewers of the medical journals, of probably the most influential medical journals, New England Journal of Medicine, Lancet, BMJ.
Over $1 billion to pay off the medical journals to push the agenda. And that's the way it is, folks. So, and like I said, they're going after us from many different angles. There's a, let me see if I can pull this one up here. Let me see, where is it? Yeah, okay, here we go. This is an Italian doctor who's talking about the spike proteins. Now, you've heard on this broadcast before, what was it? Dr. Ernst Burkholdt had done a presentation about his study into the male reproductive systems and found that spike proteins have been replacing the spermatozoa. And Dr. Naomi Wolf has found that the spike proteins are destroying the egg productions in women. In other words, they're trying to make the men infertile and the women infertile. Well, there's another way to go at it, as when we talked about this as well. They don't want you to have any type of spiritual desires, which means they have to destroy the pineal gland. Now, here's an Italian scientist that's basically explaining exactly that.
And here, the case which might interest some of you who have understanding for these things. An Italian necropsy doctor, almost 3 years ago.
3 years ago.
Going public in Italy, telling everybody has the pineal gland almost destroyed.
Okay, I'm pausing it right there. This is an Italian doctor that's found 3 years ago that the pineal gland is being destroyed. He continues.
What is the pineal gland for? Well, officially, yes, melatonin, etc. But the one who knows, do know, right? So the spike protein is targeting the whole endocrine system, and it is destroying the pineal gland. And this guy has proven, he was suspended from work for speaking publicly, okay? This is the article where, so for everything I'm telling you, there is a proof. So here's interview with his quotation, okay?
So we have scientists all over the world that are saying basically the same thing, is that, they're trying to kill people. They also trying to prevent people from having any type of spiritual awakening. And this is all the more reason why each and every one of you out there listening, we have to get back in touch with God. Whichever way you perceive God to be, get back into your spiritual center. Because that's the only way that we can overcome, this vile evil that's all over the world right now. Now, like I said, they're finding now that the spike proteins are now in the MMR vaccines, measles, mumps, rubella that they give to the little kids. And why would they be giving them the spike proteins? Well, guess what? Here's a real tragic story. A pair of identical twins who died on the same day they were given the hokey pokey thingy dingy.
Absolutely typical of death related to a vaccine. The data supporting this actual event is immense. They were twins. They died on the same day. How can you possibly explain that? This is not new. The fact that twins die on the same night has been reported repeatedly and always in temporal associations with vaccines. But there's one paper where by Bass et al. And in there's a statement that says, the likelihood of twin infants dying suddenly and simultaneously of SIDS, a natural disorder, defies credibility. Meaning, this isn't SIDS. This is a vaccine-induced death. And this has been described repeatedly. And so, although we use the term SIDS, we should call it for what it is. I mean, this is a death related to the vaccine. The way they described the kids on day 2 when they brought them to the ER, they said the kids were limp, the pot belly of that, the cute pot belly of the infant, they looked flat, they were listless, they couldn't move. And when they called their parents, for help, because like you said, it's a 21-year-old mother, she FaceTimed her mom, and her mom looked at her and said, those kids look like they're dying. And that's why they went to the ER. And the father even said that. He said, I never could have imagined two healthy, beautiful babies suddenly looking like they're dying within 24 hours. And so, like, there's not a lot of confusion around this case. And to hear that it's, that they're still under scrutiny or under suspicion, like Angela said, is absolutely absurd. This is as common as the day is long.
Mm-hmm. So, again, is the hokey pokey thingy dingy a good thingy? I don't think so. Okay, now I'm going to switch gears again. And let me see. Oh, that thing just disappeared. All right, I'm going to change gears a little bit. Overseas in the European Union, there's a woman who's in charge of that. She's the commissioner, and her name is Ursula von der Leyen, von der Leyen, something like that. Well, I have to tell you that there's a fantastic woman. She's out of the Netherlands. Her name is Eva Vlaadingerbroek, and she basically went right after Ursula von der Leyen, accused her of operating a zero accountability regime, and warning that her time in political immunity is running out. And I think that this 5-minute speech is worth hearing every word. Wait till you hear what she's taking Ursula right across the coals. And there's a good reason, because Ursula has her own values that she's trying to push on the rest of the European Union. Ursula, what are your values?
Europe is the values of the Talmud.
Europe has the values of the Talmud? Wait a minute. Italy? Rome? The Vatican? That's Talmudic? Yeah, Notre Dame, that's Talmud? I don't think so, Ursula. What did you say? Say it again. Say it again. Come on, go ahead, say it again.
Europe is the values of the Talmud.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, that's where she's coming from. Well, this is why she's being raked over the coals. Listen to this.
In the DDR, you at least knew that the government was listening in on you. In the USSR, you at least knew that going against the government could end you in the gulags. In Mao Zedong's China, going against the government was something that surely would have you met with violence. But make no mistake, being a dissident now is just as dangerous as it was back then. Our regime uses pretty words to hide their intentions, but they pervert and invert our definitions all the time. They say that to maintain peace in Europe, we need to go to war with Russia. They say that to protect democracy, we have to ban right-wing parties. And they say that to safeguard freedom of speech, they need to censor disinformation. Just like in Orwell's 1984, war is peace, freedom is slavery, ignorance is strength. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we can find the embodiment of that regime in one person in particular. The worst leader of them all, the President of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen. America got 4 more years of Trump. We, here in Europe, got 5 more years of Ursula von der Leyen. The thing is, though, that no one ever voted for Ursula von der Leyen. No one ever voted for her, yet she is one of the most powerful people in Europe, and she's implementing some of the most destructive policies that our continent has ever seen. Just to give you a few examples, she's the one who introduced the Green Deal, crippling our economy. She's the one who introduced the Migration Pact, replacing our native population. And now she's attacking our national sovereignty even further by introducing the Rearm Europe program, an 800 billion euro defense fund mostly used for Ukraine, a country that isn't and should never be part of the European Union.
Wow, you hear that? That goes against the narrative, doesn't it?
And last but not least, when are we ever going to see those text messages in which she closed a 35 billion euro deal with Albert Bourla, the CEO of Pfizer? As I told you earlier, Ursula von der Leyen and the Eurocrats are most likely the ones reading my private messages, those of a private citizen. When are we going to see hers, those of a public servant spending billions and billions of our taxpayers' money?
Well, she's calling it like it is. Yeah, the EU can spy on everybody else, but you can't see their text messages. No.
Ursula von der Leyen thinks she is untouchable. She thinks she is above the law. But we are here today to remind her that she is not. So allow me to take this moment, look straight into the camera, and speak truth to power for a moment. Mrs. von der Leyen, do you think about what you have done? Do you think about the people who suffer because of your policies? Do you think about the people who have died because of a vaccine that you pushed on them, that you bought behind closed doors?
Wow. The world is waking up, folks.
Mrs. von der Leyen, do you ever think about the cries of the mothers who cry at night because their children were raped or murdered by immigrants that you let in?
Same thing over here, isn't it, liberal Democrats, that you did?
Do you ever think about the farmers whose entire life's work were destroyed because you pushed the communist agenda? Do you ever think about the people who cannot afford food for their children because you implemented policies that are crippling our economy while you were able to send your 7 children off to the most expensive schools in Europe? Do you ever think about that?
The natives are getting restless, ladies and gentlemen.
I bet you don't. I bet you don't, because none of this is happening in your backyard. But, ladies and gentlemen, I do. I think about those people. I think about them. I will not forget them. So let me promise you right here, right now, I will not stop fighting for them. I will not stop fighting for the truth, and I will not stop fighting for my people. The time of zero accountability will come to an end, and I will promise you, we will make Europe great again.
Whoa! Listen to that crowd. I tell you, bless her heart. I tell you, she's a rising star in European politics. And again, make note of it. Her name is Eva Vlaadingerbroek. She's from the Dutch, from the Netherlands. I'll get it right. All right, my gosh, an hour goes by so quickly. If you're enjoying the broadcast, I got to tell you, folks, I suck at self-promotion. I really do. I don't like the notoriety, and I'm not a techie, but nonetheless, we're trying to do everything we can to keep this show growing, and we're going to ask you to participate. So please go to our website, TheWTFReports. Do business with our advertisers. You may even want to make a contribution to our GoFundMe. And hey, pick up some merch. We got a brand new T-shirt out there, and it's got 3 words on it: bribery, coercion, blackmail. Yeah, that's what makes the world go round. Yeah. So visit our website, TheWTFReports.com. You might want to get more tank. That's one of our sponsors, and I wouldn't have it as a sponsor if I didn't believe in it. And the same thing with the Wave Watch. And like I said, they've got a special going on for Father's Day. Not only do you get $100 off with the promo code RedPill100, but you can also get $50 towards the extended warranty. All right, that said, that's going to wrap it up for another week's madness of broadcasting. I'm Dave vonKleist. These are the WTF Reports. I thank you for your listenership. If you're listening on Rumble or BitChute or YouTube, please click like, please subscribe, and please share. Tell your friends and family that there are voices of sanity out there and that are overcoming the subterfuge of the mainstream networks. That said, that's going to wrap it up. The weekend is now upon us. TGIF, folks. God bless you all. Stay safe. Stay free, and I will see you on Monday. God bless you all. And pray. Don't forget to pray.